Hello, welcome. Today I want to talk about something I've noticed recently and just couldn't get out of my head, no matter how hard I tried. Please keep in mind that I'm in no means a professional. I'm not a marketing major, so this is just the way it comes off to me as a consumer. I'd also like to say that I don't necessarily mean this all in a commercial sense. Blackpink are successful, not doubt about it. IVE is successful as well. You'll get it if you keep watching, I promise. I think everyone is familiar with Blackpink's marketing strategy. Drop a mini album, promote it for a short while, then radio silence for around a year, or in the most recent case a whole 2 years. And while Blinks and Blackpink enjoyers have been complaining and asking for more music for years and years, it just doesn't happen. The marketing strategy prevails, and Blackpink still only has one full album, and only about 30 original songs. If you ignore the Japanese versions of their existing Korean songs in their 6-year career, it's baffling, especially if you were to compare them to BTS. Because when it comes to K-pop, BTS and Blackpink arguably are the two groups most people will think of. While BTS does have a 3-year head start on them, since they debuted back in 2013, they still, on average, have more songs, and not even just a few more, but a considerable amount. And the question is, why? Why would YG quote-unquote waste Blackpink like that? Because it works. It makes money. It gives them the exclusivity of an expensive brand, makes the fans desperate, and thus more susceptible. Starving off people waiting for comebacks just results in them grasping for any and everything even remotely involved with Blackpink. Any sponsorships, brand deals, appearances are almost guaranteed to take off, to sell out, if it includes one of the Blackpink members. And sure, YG claims they produce quality over quantity, and that is the reason for sparse comebacks, but I personally don't believe that. They realized with the release of the Square Up album that they could garner much more attention and excitement if they starve the fans for a while. Do came out almost exactly 1 year after, as if it's your last. Do was a massive hit. It hit platinum. It was the first K-pop music video to hit 1 billion views. Do showed YG that they didn't have to do the standard K-pop spiel. They didn't have to send Blackpink to tons and tons of variety shows and crank out comebacks every few months. Instead, they decided to opt to go for the exclusivity, the once-a-year comebacks, to really build up the excitement and to keep people on their toes. And people, especially Blackpink stans, were inclined to support the comebacks with all they got, because what if they finally get more frequent comebacks? If this breaks more records, maybe then we will get a full album, more promotions, more music. Where are the solos? Why does it take so long? Why does it always get postponed? Why do they promise something, only to leave us in the dark? Where is Jennie's rapping? Where are Jisoo's lines? The lack of music and willingness to communicate not only built up excitement for a Blackpink comeback, it also came with frustration. Frustration that led to people demanding for Blackpink to leave YG, to not renew with them in 2023. And while people were frustrated and mad, it didn't stop them to make Blackpink's subsequent releases immensely successful. Especially their first full album, adequately named The Album, became the best-selling album by a Korean female group of all time. So, the question really shouldn't be why would YG do this, but rather why would YG stop? They're making tons of money with their current strategy. Sure, fans are upset and displeased, but they still support them. Not for YG, but rather despite them, for their love for the girls. And that's enough for a company, because at the end of the day, as long as Blinks and Blackpink enjoyers still buy and stream, it doesn't really matter if they curse at YG while doing it. Yes, there have been Blinks that left the fandom because of the long dry spell. Yes, they have lost more casual fans, but if they follow the trend they've set for themselves, they will make up those losses with new fans or fans that come back. Now that the girls are back, Blackpink realistically is at a point of no return, because their fandom has been conditioned to wait for ages and grasp whatever they get. They made it, and no hiatus is probably going to take them down. Sure, they might lose momentum, but I think it's virtually impossible for them to flop. Now, you might wonder how IVE plays into this. If you look at IVE's discography and the time between their comebacks, you would be right to call out that IVE are very consistent with their comebacks. They don't have that many yet, but so far they are keeping up a good pace. Roughly every 4 months IVE drops a comeback. And yes, this seems a lot and very frequent, and not at all like Blackpink, but it makes a lot more sense when you look at the actual albums they release, or rather, the singles they release. So far, IVE has released 4 songs. Although they only have 4 songs, by having only released 2 singles with 2 songs each, they still already sold over 1 million records overall. Their debut single is certified platinum, and the first day as well as first week sales of their debut single more than doubled for their second single album. Their third single album, which is set to release on the 22nd of August, reached 50,000 pre-orders 3 days after opening them, without any teasers or album details being released. Starship has chosen a similar approach as YG. The variables are just a little switched around. While Blackpink is on hiatus for a long while to then come back with 4, 6, or 8 songs, IVE comes back every few months with only 2 songs. If we assume that IVE were to stick to their 4-month cycle, they would have 3 comebacks every year, which is 6 songs per year from IVE. Blackpink has similar numbers, with 1 comeback on average every year, with around 4 songs. If they keep doing the mini album thing, maybe 8 songs, if they have a full album. It's a very similar approach that leads to very different reactions. While IVE fans obviously do want more music, even just a mini album for a change, they still get a lot of content. From solo appearances to stuff on their YouTube channel like covers, behind content or their 1, 2, 3 IVE show. IVE doesn't really fade from existence in between comebacks and Starship tries hard to keep them in the spotlight. Blackpink on the other hand is almost swallowed into nothingness when they don't promote. If you don't keep up with their personal Instagram or YouTube accounts or news from third-party accounts, since it doesn't do much promoting for the members outside of comebacks. So while IVE might want more music, they still have a lot of IVE content to watch and keep up with, whereas Blinks are stuck with neither music nor content. Both IVE and Blackpink have adapted the exclusivity phenomenon you would expect from a luxurious brand. Blackpink by making people wait and long, and IVE by dangling in front of people's faces and making them long for more, since they are never just quite satisfied. People want more in both cases. It's two sides of the same coin, the same concept with just a single variable changed. Both are successful, yet one has their fandom in shambles, angry and upset with the company, while the other fandom is busy watching the latest episode of their face show. While Dive and Blinks asking for more music seems very alike at first, it actually just shows the blatant discrepancy between Starship and YG. Starship tries to keep people engaged with IVE even between comebacks, whereas YG ignores Blinks until it's time to order albums and buy concert tickets. The disregard YG has for Blinks and Blackpink alike is wild. They're biting the hand that feeds them, and it's clear that Blinks don't want to play this game anymore. Unfortunately, they will have to if they want to support their girls. At the end of the day, YG has the upper hand, and until either Blinks boycott the girls or Blackpink leave, nothing will change. Edit. The same day I wrote this video YG dropped the announcement trailer and guess what? Still no date, no title track, no details, nothing. Just that it's happening, but nothing else, which perfectly fits into their usual very little to no communication scheme.